Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Rise and Shine Yoga. I'm Paul, the owner of Oxford Yoga Studio in downtown Oxford. And I just realized this morning that I've been doing this show for about 4 months. So for those of you that have stuck with me for the past 4 months, I want to thank you. And for those of you who this is watching me for the first time, I welcome you here. So as we always do, I want you to sit at the front of your mat. Your legs can be straight or crossed. Your hands can be on your knees or in your lap. I just want you to close your eyes for a little bit, bow your head, and just start to let the breathing go. Check in with your body, see how it's feeling this morning. Check the mind, see if it has any racing thoughts, see if you're thinking about what to do after this is done or this weekend or whatever. And just try to center the mind. Just try to calm it down, settle it down, knowing that all I want you to focus on is the next 30 minutes of our yoga. And still with your eyes closed, before we start any practice, I think it's a good idea to set an intention, which I consider a dedication for our practice, something that you can use throughout your practice. If you're struggling with the poses or the breath or your body's just not feeling right, I want you to come back to the intention and hopefully it will give you inspiration to continue on. And this intention can be for yourself, for a family member, someone at work, the world, whatever. Doesn't really matter. And to seal in that intention, I just want you to bow your chin to chest, just to seal in that intention. Now come back up. And along with our intention, we want to start right into our yogic breath, our Ujjayi breath. Strong inhale through the nose. And as we exhale through the nose, I want you to constrict the back of your throat so you make like a ha sound, a fogging of the mirror sound as you exhale through the nose. So deep inhale. The breath should be strong and audible, and it should be slow and controlled as we continue with our practice. There's no rushing through with the breath. There's no huffing and puffing. The breath should be nice and controlled. One breath, one movement. And so with our intention made and our breath made, let us continue with our warm-up for our practice. So as we usually do, I want you to roll forward into tabletop position, or commonly called hands and knees. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your knees directly underneath your hips. Take a quick look back between your legs. Make sure your feet are behind your knees. If they're not, move them there now. And we're going to do a little bit of what we call cat-cows. So we're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the head to the sky. Exhale, round the back like a scared cat, really pushing the hands into the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, round the back. Drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, round the back. One more time. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, round the back. Now come to a flat back. Bring the big toes of your feet together. Sit back on your heels into the first child's pose of the morning. If you have hip issues, you might want to open up your knees. If you have lower back issues, you might want to bring the knees together. It's totally up to you, whatever your body's feeling this morning. So very slowly, come back up to tabletop position, hands and knees. And as always, that child's pose, I want you to come to it at any time during the practice. You know, if you're struggling, if the breath is not doing right, if you're just not feeling good, come back to the pose. Come back to child's pose. You know, as I always say, yoga is not a competition. It's not about who can do the fanciest pose or who can sweat the most. It's about doing what your body needs to be taken care of as you come to your mat. So we're going to do a little more of a warm-up with our core. We've done this before. So inhale your left arm straight in front of you, your thumb up, your bicep by your left ear, your gaze toward the front of the mat. And then inhale your right leg back, your toes pointed back toward the back of the mat. Your right leg up about hip height. And then release, hand and leg to the floor. And we'll do the other side. Inhale the right arm straight in front of you, thumb up, bicep by the right ear. And then extend the left leg back, hip height, toes pointed back. And then exhale both back to the mat. We're just going to do a little flow with that. So we're going to inhale the left arm straight, the right leg back. Exhale, crunch, knee to elbow. Inhale, straighten the arm and leg. Exhale, knee to elbow. Lengthen. Knee to elbow. Lengthen. And then release to the mat. And we'll do the other side. Inhale the right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, round the back, knee to elbow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, knee to elbow. And straighten. And hold this position. And then if you can, bend your left knee, take your right hand, grab your right foot, and kick out into your hand. Maybe look over your right shoulder. And then release both to the mat. Come back in the child's pose. Slowly come back up to child's pose. Make your way to a seated position. It's the end of our first segment, so go get a drink of water, take a break. And then in the next segment, we'll continue with our standing poses as we continue our practice on Rise and Shine Yoga. And we'll see you in a little bit. Back to Rise and Shine Yoga. We're going to continue with our standing poses. And for the majority of our standing poses, make sure your feet are hip distance apart, you're standing up tall, your shoulder blades are relaxed. And a quick way to relax your shoulder blades are to inhale them up, back, and down, or to have your hands and palms open like that. But we're going to start with our hands in prayer position. So bring your hands together at the front of your heart. And we're going to start with a few sun A's, which most of you should be familiar with right now. So we're going to inhale the arms up, a little back bend. Exhale, fold forward over straight legs. Maybe your hands come to the floor, to the shin. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, step back to the top of a push-up. Stay here for a quick second. You want to make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. And try to press your heels back to make you more in line. And keeping the elbows in tight, slowly lower all the way to the bottom of the push-up. Inhale, lift the chest, straighten the arms, up dog. Exhale, uncurl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. And since this is probably your first down dog of the morning, maybe bicycle the feet. In down dog, you want your hands firmly pressed into the mat. Your heels pressed into the floor while you're lifting your hips to the sky. And don't worry if your heels don't hit the floor, they will eventually. Gaze toward the back of your mat. Head hanging. And now we're going to do 10 of what I call the pendulum. So keeping your hands and your feet where they are, I want you to inhale to plank position. Exhale back to down dog. 9 more. Inhale to plank. Exhale to dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog, halfway there. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. 2 more. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. 1 more. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. Look between your hands, bend the knees, walk, step to the front of the mat. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, really reach and rise the arms up to the sky. Exhale, palms together, center of the heart, Samas TT. Now that pendulum, with keeping your hands and your feet where they are, it's a really good cue to help you if you're in proper alignment for down dog and for plank. And as you can tell, it can be very challenging. So we're going to continue with 1 more sun A. So we're going to inhale the arms up. Maybe a little back bend. Exhale, fold forward over straight legs. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, step back to the top of a push-up. Slowly lower all the way down. Inhale, straighten the arms, lift the chest, up dog. Exhale, uncurl the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for about 5 breaths. If you've lost your breath, get it back. Use your intention. At the end of your next exhale, look between the hands, bend the knees, walk, step to the front of the mat. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, really reach and rise the arms up. Exhale, palms together, center of the heart, Samas TT. Now I'm going to introduce a pose that I don't think we've done before. It's 1 pose with 4 variations. So on your mat, I want you to take a big step out to your right so you're facing the long end of your mat and your arms are going to be out to a T. But to show that I'm going to be looking at you, so arms out to a T. Ideally, your ankles are underneath your wrists. We're going to inhale, exhale the hands to our waist. And now we're going to inhale just a little back bend. And exhale, we're going to fold forward over our legs. See if our hands can come to the mat or our fingertips. If not, bring them to a shin. Your knees can be straight or bent. Your gaze toward the back of your mat or to the side of your mat if you're facing the long end. And good, strong breath. Bring your hands to the waist and very slowly, and I mean very slowly, come back up to standing, arms out to a T. And I say very slowly because if you come up too fast, you can get dizzy. We don't want that. So with arms out to a T, inhale, exhale the hands to the waist. And keeping your hands on the waist, I want you to inhale a little back bend. And exhale, fold forward, keeping your hands on the waist. And I want you to think of your elbows coming together and your shoulder blades coming together. And this will help you get more into the pose. Again, legs can be straight or bent, whatever suits you. It's your body, it's not mine. Slowly come back up to standing. Arms out to a T. Inhale, exhale the hands to the waist. Now I want you to take your hands and bring them behind your back and interlace the fingers. And we're going to inhale a little back bend. And then exhale, fold forward over straight legs. Maybe your hands come off your back, maybe they don't. Again, knees can be bent or straight. Gaze back between your legs. Bring your hands to the waist. Slowly make your way back up to standing. Arms out to a T. And then step both feet together at the front of the mat. Palms together at the center of the heart. Take a quick breath. Get your breath back. That pose is called Prasarita Padottanasana, A, B, C, and D. That's Sanskrit for wide stance. So in the next segment, we'll finish with our seated poses and then our closing meditation. So take a quick break and a drink of water, and we'll see you sitting on your mat for the next segment.
Okay, well, remember last week when you hit Vinny in the head with the shovel?
I do not recall that.
Of course not. Well, it was too graphic for the kids, so I'm going to have to block you.
You know, I got to make this
That's
up.
really not necessary.
This is Vinny's watch.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Yoga, our final segment. We're going to do our seated and on the back poses. I'm going to introduce another pose to you called, or couple, called Sealed and Sphinx. So we're going to start in seated position. Now I want you to roll forward. And I want you to make your way all the way to your belly. All the way to your belly. Straighten your legs behind you. Take your hands, place the forearms on the mat. Your elbows right underneath your shoulders. We're going to do what's called seal, so it's a little bit of a back bend. So we're going to inhale, and that's it. We're going to open our chest. We're using our forearms, a little bit of a back bend. If you feel any kind of pinching in the lower back, just bring your hands and elbows farther out, and it should put a little bit less pressure. If that doesn't help, it just come all the way to lie in your belly. So either way is fine. So this is called Sphinx pose. And then from Sphinx pose, you can come into what's called Sealed pose, which is you bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and you straighten the arms, and as you can tell, it's a lot more of a back bend. Your shoulders are relaxed, you're really opening up the chest. And again, if this is putting anything with your back, just bring the arms out farther in front of you, and it'll put less of a pinch on your back. This kind of pose and the seal pose really helps with strengthening our lower back. I don't think we do enough work with our lower back, but yet we have a lot of back issues. So you may feel sore, but you're really, really strengthening the muscles. Now from here, come all the way down to your belly. And still on your belly, we're going to do some version of what I call locust or bow pose. So once you extend your arms straight in front of you, your legs are straight behind you. We're going to inhale and both up to the sky. Sometimes it's called Superman, lifting the chest, lifting the legs. If keeping the legs together is too hard, just bring them apart. Then come all the way down to your belly. Now another version, bring your hands toward your chest. Your legs straight behind you. You're going to inhale, lift your chest, and lift your legs. And then release all the way down to the mat. And slowly come back up onto your knees. Bring your big toes together. Come back into child's pose. Child's pose is a really good counter pose to any back bends. And I would suggest bringing your knees together because that really helps the lower back. From here, slowly come up and then swing your legs out in front of you. Straighten the legs. Bring the hands by the hips. We're going to do Dandasana or staff pose. Sit up tall, chest wide, toes pulled back. Gaze is straight ahead. Everything's engaged. Now inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. And if you can, take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes. This is Paschimottanasana. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, fold forward. You want your heart to come towards your feet. You don't want to round the back. So it's about flat back. If you want a little more, you can bring your elbows out to the side. Release your bind. Slowly come back up to seated. And now we're going to do reverse table. So I want you to bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet flat on the mat, about hip distance apart. Your hands behind your hips. You're just going to inhale, lift the hips into reverse table. Your head does not have to look back behind you. Just make sure you want your hips up high, because if you let them sag, it puts too much pressure on the mat. And then release all the way down to the mat. Straighten your legs again. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. Take a bind anywhere on your foot. Release your bind, slowly come back up to seated. Now we're going to do a couple more poses, I think. One of them we've done, one we haven't. So for the first one, you're going to be sitting and balancing on your tailbone. Inhale, cross your ankles and bring your knees up. I want you to inhale, grab your feet, lift up your feet and your knees. You're balancing on your tailbone. Sitting up tall. Everything's engaged. Smiling. And then release. Bring your hands by the side. A little bump up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, balancing on your tailbone. Grabbing your feet as the ankles are crossed in front of another. And then release. Little bump up. Straighten the legs. In front of you, come down the line, your back. Bend your left knee. Place your right ankle on top of your left knee. Let the arms hang down. This is a good hip opener. Letting gravity pull our knee to the ground for more of a hip opener. Bring your right foot to the ground, do the other side, put the left ankle on top of the right knee. Bring your left foot down, bring your knees into the chest. Rock side to side for a hug of gratitude for coming to your mat. Roll forward into a seated position at the front of your mat. Get yourself comfortable, legs crossed, palms together, center of the heart, close the eyes, bend the head, come back to the intention. The light in me bows and shines and reflects the beautiful energy within all of you. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.
You are watching the Michigan American Legion's Station of the Year for the 5th year in a row, Oxford Community Television.